What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Fantasy Flex podcast from the Action Network and Fantasy Labs. I am your host, Chris Raybon. NFL Week 1 is here. As always, I'm joined by one of the most accurate rankers in the game over at Fantasy Pros. He's been crushing it for the better part of a decade plus now. The odds maker, Sean Koerner. Sean, Week 1 DFS, how you feeling?
Well, first of all, happy opening day. Happy opening night. I was already pumped for, opening night, but now that I found out, we're both on the same prop, I'm even more pumped because that makes me feel even better about my Javonte fade. You're the king of Javonte fade, so my bad for kind of stepping on your toes there, but hopefully he stays under all numbers tonight.
Yeah, man. As I was telling you off air, I was recording the six pack with Stuckey, and all of a sudden he's like, "Yeah, Sean just took this Javonte under," and I'm like, "Oh no. I gotta think too where it goes south." But yeah, we're fading Javonte all day, every day. But on this pod, we're gonna build DFS cash game lineups. One on DraftKings, one on FanDuel, and we'll go back and forth, talk through our player pools and everything. So. Hopefully you guys enjoy it, and we're going to start with DraftKings, but quick reminder, all of our fantasy football content is available right now over at fantasylabs.com. Rankings, projections, everything you need for your drafts, for in-season is over at fantasylabs.com, or you can check it out in the Fantasy Labs app. Promo code FLEX20 gets you $20 off an annual NFL sub. That's FLEX20 for $20 off an NFL sub. All right, let's start with DraftKings. As I'm sure everybody knows, you got a quarterback, a couple of running backs, 3 wideouts, tight end, flex, defense, $50,000 to get it done. I'll let you start it off. We'll kind of go back and forth, but we can kind of talk through who we're thinking about at each spot. So, it's the floor is yours. Whatever position you're kind of locking in first on DK.
All right. Well, we're going to just start with the quarterback here.
Okay.
It's really 3 guys. It's Trevor Lawrence, Drake May, and Daniel Jones are sticking out like a sore thumb to me. Yeah. Week 1 pricing, they set these prices, over a month ago? When contests were released.
Yeah, a long time ago.
A lot of guys are going to stick out. But, Trevor Lawrence at 5,300 is pretty egregious. He's, we're both high on him. He has, a really good matchup against the Panthers here. I think he's a pretty safe play. I saw you locked in him to score a touchdown.
Yeah.
You could elaborate on that. But I just think that, Daniel Jones, I can't trust him in a cash game lineup. He would be more of a GPP, but his ownership might be high. So Daniel Jones is tricky. I think when we're talking about cash games, pure value, we're going to go with Trevor Lawrence here.
Yeah, he's 5,300, and as far as this is kind of a teaser for our touchdown show, which will be out over on the Action Network podcast with our guy Joe Gallant. But I'm hearing that the Jags are going to mess around with some tush push potentially. And we know Trevor Lawrence, big-bodied guy. We know they got 2 rookies and a guy in Travis Etienne at running back who has had some fumble issues near the goal line. So even if all 4 backs are active, Bigsby's probably the only one of the 4 that you could truly trust. And who knows where his role actually is, in terms of the pecking order. It's not totally clear. So, yeah, I think Lawrence is a good bet. Might be the highest team total they have all year at home against Carolina in week 1. So, I like him. I think this is one of those weeks where, as you mentioned, there's a lot of value everywhere because these prices came out so long ago. So, I would say, you kind of do have to figure out where, you're going to have to pay up somewhere. So, I would probably go Joe Burrow. If I was paying up at quarterback, just because I feel like he's on he's on one right now. He actually played in the preseason. He let himself get ragdoll sacked, all crazy. He's going up against the Browns, a team that they usually struggle against, but I feel like everyone's healthy. So I feel pretty confident about the floor for a guy like Burrow with all of our favorite, scrambling quarterbacks off the off the slate. Is that would you kind of go there? Is there which like high salary quarterback would you look at if you weren't going with
Yeah,
Morris? Just curious.
Yeah, I think Burrow and Jane Daniels are definitely worth it. I mean, if you kind of want to go contrarian, like Bo Nix, maybe people shy away because they're facing the Titans. They might think it's going to be a more run heavy game, and he might just come out balling out, throwing it to Sutton, Mims, Ingram. So he might be kind of like a low key guy for GPPs if you want to spend up. But I think this week it definitely makes sense to go cheaper at quarterback, just given the value we're seeing, like Drake May as well at 5,500. Just a ton of options if you go that route. So, but yeah, I think it's those handful of guys I'll be keying on this week.
Yeah, I like Burrow just kind of stands out to me because you have the same problem for cash games with a lot of these other guys where they're kind of they're favorites going against teams that might not necessarily put up much of a fight. But we just know the Bengals, they pass so much regardless. So, like with their 70% early down pass rate or whatever it is, I just have a lot of confidence in the floor of Burrow where it's like Jaden Daniels, we don't, they haven't practiced with the offense, and Kyler's facing a bad team, and Drake May's facing a bad team. And it's like they all could be, I'm scared of like them being a lot more run heavy, whereas Burrow kind of, it's like, all right, he's going to throw. So that's why I just brought it up. But let's do it. Let's go with JSN at wide receiver. I love
there we go.
At 5,800. There are a bunch of guys kind of in that 5K range that are your team's number one receiver that I have ranked higher than where their salary implies. I think Olave 5,100 is interesting. I think Harrison at 5,500 is interesting, but the floors of those guys compared to a guy like JSN, who just ended the 2024 season on an absolute tear, I think he should definitely be a 6K plus type of receiver. So like him the most there. So yeah, let's kind of get at least a mid tier to high end salary in there, because we don't want to make the mistake of going too low everywhere, and then
right.
we're just kind of picking studs we might not even want. So that's why I wanted to get someone in there before going back to the onesies.
Yeah. Actually, let's go with him. A little bit cheaper, but he's going to be chalky, but I think we have to do it. But Emeka Egbuka at 4,600. Just with Chris Godwin, not only Chris Godwin missing week one, Jalen McMillan's also out. So it just really opens things up for Egbuka early in the season. Obviously, that's when they set, his price at 4,600. So I think he has a really high floor here. Could be, a potential shootout with the Falcons. So I think he's probably a must in cash games, even though, his rostership's going to be through the roof. I think you kind of have to go with the free square here.
Huh. So yeah, that's interesting because I actually had him written down. I have like my little player pool written down, and then I deleted him. And the reason was when I started looking at it, I was like, I don't know if we have to even take guys who aren't their team's number one receiver. So that's interesting that you think he's going to be a free square and very highly owned even in cash is what you're saying.
Yeah, 4,600. Just where I have him projected. I have him I have how much money they're projected they should be, or what his salary should be. And he's he should be closer to 5,200. So he's about $620 discounted, which is definitely the highest of all the receivers this week. I think Tet is slightly ahead of him, but Tet's more of kind of like a volatile receiver, and he's dealing with that hamstring injury, right? So he seems a little bit less safe to lock in on a Thursday. So just at the moment, I have Egbuka as the best wide receiver at cost. And yeah, even though he is the number two, like Mike Evans is he's still a downfield red zone kind of guy. I think Egbuka, it wouldn't shock me if he out targets Mike Evans week one, right? Sort of in the Chris Godwin role. So yeah, I think Egbuka just right out of the gate is going to have a pretty high floor.
That's interesting. It's interesting that you mentioned the Panthers too, because I don't think you can play any member of their passing game in cash games because if I was talking to Stuck on the Action Network on the Six Pack about the drop off that Bryce Young sustained throwing to Koerner and Thielen, which were his top two receivers in yardage last year. He went from about 10 yards an attempt throwing to Thielen and Koerner to about 5 yards an attempt throwing to everybody else. So just because he got Tet in there, he's a contested catch guy. That's not a guarantee to lead to efficiency, especially, in your first real game. So yeah, I think for me, because initially I had we get written down too, because he's at like 4,200, which I think is a value, so to speak, but it's only GPP, I think, with those guys.
Yeah, well, everyone's gonna have Leggett, Tet. Some Hunter Renfrow. It sounds like he's gonna start in the slot, but who's gonna score the long touchdown for the Panthers, right?
David Moore.
Exactly. So if you're setting like a Millie Maker team, you gotta throw in some David Moore.
Absolutely.
Because nothing's going to make sense at the end of the day. So, yeah, I agree. I think, you can't really trust Tet in a cash game. I think he's fine for GPPs, obviously. Same thing with Leggett. And then we're going to be able to get so many discounts in week one that you don't really need to spend down for somebody like Leggett. I mean, he's only $400 cheaper than Ibuka. And I think Ibuka has a much higher floor. So I just think week one, there's a lot more gimmies just because the pricing has been out for, months now.
Yeah, no, that's what I was almost off of Ibuka. I kind of get I get your point.
Yeah.
Like I think he's fine, but that's how you can be really picky in week one. I'm just trying to find these exact Bryce Young. Yeah, 10.2 yards an attempt to Thielen and Koerner, 74% completion, 6.3% touchdown rate. And then to everyone else, drops 12% in completions from 74 to 62, 10.2 to 5.4 yards an attempt, and the touchdown rate goes from 6.3 to 3.4. So it's like he's half as good to throwing to everybody else. That does not make me feel good. I mean, even in a GPP, it might be a kind of a mirage. So we'll see how that goes. But all right, let's see. I gotta go with my guy Chase Brown at 6,600.
Oh, nice. I was gonna go. I mean, we're not competing against each other, so I could just say I was gonna go with him.
Oh, nice.
Considering,
because I know you were down on him at one point, so you've kind of you were just like the matchup in week one.
I wouldn't say I was down. I was kind of saying because I was high on him as a rookie. Remember, my comp was old school Rod Smith, baby. So I had high hopes for him. I was just kind of disappointed as an efficiency, but I said he is a lock for a workhorse role. I don't really think Taj Brooks is going to eat into his workload. I know Samaje Perine isn't. And then I saw, he bulked up, looked great in preseason. So I've fully come around on him. I think he was one of the most critical picks, like right before the Frozen Pond tier. You can get Chase Brown. I thought he was one of the last true RB1. So I love that. Love the matchup. Love the price. At 6,600, I think he's a great cash play.
He's like the Puka Nacua of running backs. He was like, I never practice football things. I just went to the weight room and just improved my athleticism, and that always served me well. But now I just pay attention to Joe Burrow when he's scrambling and kind of watch him, and I get to open spaces and I learn how to run routes and block and hit. It's like, dude, it's crazy. These young dudes they just be out here just getting by on straight athleticism. So there might be another gear for a guy like Brown. I want to get ahead of that. Lowest price is still at 6,600. So we got Lawrence, Brown, JSN, Emeka Buka. We got a running back, wide receiver, tight end, flex, and defense still to fill.
Yeah, so our average remaining per player is 5,500. But the problem is we haven't picked a defense yet. So, it's always kind of hard to figure out the remaining player. So let's nail this down. I'm going to take the honor of trying to pick our defense with your input, obviously. But some of the options I'm seeing, it's kind of a rough week, in my opinion. But some of the options are like the Niners, Raiders, even the Texans potentially, even though they're facing the Rams, and Seahawks. I think the Seahawks defense is going to be great this year, but they're facing the Niners.
You haven't mentioned one defense I would play yet. I would not play any of those defenses in cash games. I'm very picky in cash games. I'm like a snob, maybe.
Oh, for what? Yeah. So
I feel like I gotta play Denver. I got to play Denver.
Denver,
I
Denver
feel like we gotta
or
play
Arizona,
Denver.
but
Yeah,
for
but
a cash
Arizona's
game-
a road. Yeah, because like
for
Arizona's
a
on the
cash
road.
game, I would say Steelers are also in play for like a cash game defense. But yeah, so Denver 3,800.
Why not?
If they're because we're gonna be saving so much money on these like week 1 prices. That makes a ton of sense. And I love Cam Ward. I think he's gonna be great. He's gonna be very fun to watch, but he does give me some Jameis Winston vibes. He will YOLO ball it all day long. He doesn't give a shit. He's gonna be chucking it up. I would bet on him to lead the league in interceptions too. So it's a tough week 1 draw for him against the Broncos. So yeah, let's do it. Let's go with the Broncos as our cash game defense.
Yeah, I think that's how you got to play it in a situation like this. There's so much uncertainty. One thing we do know, even if we take the players out of the equation, like rookie quarterbacks that go on the road for their first start have just performed miserably over like a 2-3 decade, like pretty much since the NFL's inception. And not only is Cam Ward going on the road, but he's going to altitude. And this whole team, this whole young team, or just hodgepodge of like some guys are too young, some guys are too old. So yeah, I don't like anything about this matchup for Tennessee. And then Denver just might have the most talented defense in the league on paper. So I think week 1, I don't want to mess around. Even like Arizona, like you could see Arizona just kind of doing something weird, or the Saints doing something weird.
They're obviously a great streaming defense in fantasy leagues because they're the best available team. But when it comes to like a cash game lineup, definitely worth spending a few $100s to get the actual good defense with a great matchup to boot.
Yeah, because it's literally the difference between like you just need one, whereas like when we're talking about streamers, we're essentially saying okay, they're top 12, but. I think Denver's the right way to go with just all this value on the board. But you got Jonathan Taylor as a home favorite. I gotta do it. And there's no Anthony Richardson. So I feel like his touchdown odds actually go up relative to what they would be. And I just can't find any real reason to knock him this week in this week's matchup. Like I feel a lot better than about him than almost every other running back on the slate. So let's go Taylor and just have the Chase Brown Taylor, because you don't want to screw up running back. That's one thing in cash games you really don't want to screw up is running back. Right. So he'll have a high floor. Maybe he doesn't get us to top 5. It's always not out of the question, but I think he very well could be the overall RB1 on the entire slate on the entire week, just off the snap rate, the usage, and the touchdown equity. So let's go JT.
Yeah, I love it.
Now we're a little more situated with we have wide receiver, tight end, and flex. And what's our average?
5,700.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go above that. I'm gonna go with Drake London here at 6,500. I just think he's gonna be incredible this year with Michael Penix. We already saw that connection at the end of last year. Mooney, it's still up in the air if Mooney's going to play. I thought he was going to miss the first couple of games, but there's still a chance he plays. But if he's out, that could just mean more targets for London. So I just think he's like a high floor guy. And at 6,500, definitely worth every penny. And I think, if we go with him, we would have, 5,300 to spend. So we could still take an elite tight end and maybe go cheap at flex or kind of see what our options are there. But I like the wiggle room we have right now.
So we could actually go Christian McCaffrey in the flex.
Oh, I was literally just looking at that. Yeah, we are absolutely doing that.
Okay,
absolutely doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do. I was like, wait a minute. There's that. Because, usually, wide receivers have kind of taken over in terms of floor even. But it's week 1. And,
I think, McCaffrey, even though, we'll see how they incorporate Brian Robinson, but I think this is going to be a CMC week. I mean, tough matchup against the Seahawks, but he gets those receptions, goal line carries. So I have him a couple of points ahead of Neighbors even. So
this is like McCaffrey's going to get his. If anything, the Niners are just going to be run heavy and running back centric again. But
Right.
I'm not really worried about like, oh, he's going to lose work as much as they're just going
No.
to have a lot of running back involvement. I
Yeah.
think is what would happen. But yeah, all right. So yeah,
Well,
we
I
got.
like
Sorry,
how
go
that
ahead.
worked out. No,
Oh,
I just
yeah.
like how it worked out.
So we got Trevor Lawrence at 5,300 up against the Panthers. Chase Brown 6,600 in one running back slot. JT Jonathan Taylor in the other at 6,800. Then our receivers are Drake London at 6,500, Jackson Smith and Jigba at 5,800, and Emeka Buka at 4,600. Tight end Brenton Strange 3,300. CMC in the flex at 7,300, and then we sped up for the Broncos defense at 3,800. That's a DraftKings cash lineup. We'll get to FanDuel in a moment, but with the NFL season officially here, to get the most out of the award-winning Action app, you want to be an Action Pro subscriber. Only Pro subscribers get real-time pick alerts from experts like Sean Koerner, Brandon Anderson, myself, and our entire Action Network team. Shout out to Brandon Anderson. Got to see him out there in Chicago. Plus, you can access our pro projections powered by none other than the odds maker himself and the rest of our predictive analytics team. So to celebrate NFL's return, we've got a special offer for you. Just go to the Action Network. Go to actionnetwork.com/pro and get $20 off the annual price with promo code POD20. That's POD20. Again, actionnetwork.com/pro. Promo code POD20. Don't miss out on the best bets at the best prices. Visit actionnetwork.com/pro and use promo code POD20 to get $20 off a year of Action Pro. All right, FanDuel. I'll start us off this time. Do I want to start at quarterback again? Yes, because defense is a little trickier. And tight end is interesting, but
yeah,
we'll have to talk through that. So yeah, let's start at quarterback again, and kind of the similar suspects, but let's see if I would want to spend up is the question. I mean, yeah, I kind of like this value all over the place, but I kind of like Joe Burrow at 8K. I feel like that's like this is like a 9K guy. So are you down for Burrow? Mix it up here.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, I mean we have Chase Brown in our other lineup. We have Burrow here, so kind of reverse correlation, but that's fine. I mean, I think the price here is a bit better. I think also Bo Nix also sticks out on FanDuel as well, but yeah, I think those handful of guys, I think, all work on FanDuel, and we could let's see what happens if we spend up at QB here. I like it.
So you see like I love Bo Nix. I feel like I don't know if I could stomach playing him in any type of cash game, just because sometimes he does like weird things. Like it's like I want guys I can predict either bad or good. I feel like Bo Nix will have like remember that game against I think it was the Colts where he came out and threw like 3 picks and it's just like what the hell.
I mean, he was a rookie. He had some rookie inconsistencies, but man, he looked sharp in preseason. I know we're not overreacting to that, but I'm pretty high on Bo Nix. I think he has a high floor. But yeah, this week, totally fine.
Be real picky.
Another way.
Exactly. And by the way, I have no problem with rostering Chase Brown and Joe Burrow together because I'm very confident in the Bengals offense because they played in the preseason this year. So take that for what you will.
Oh, I'm gonna go high. Trey McBride.
Yes.
Trey McBride sticks out at tight end.
Yes, we can do that.
Just the way they're pricing tight ends this week, you're spending up. Yeah, there's some value like K. Dotton, Hunter Henry, Tyler Warren, that range. They are offering quite a bit of value at 5K, but when you can get Trey McBride for just like $1,000 more for week 1, I think you got to do it. I think he's got the floor you're looking for. Juwan Johnson is also like a good cheap option, but I mean, no reason to overthink it.
Yeah.
There's so much value elsewhere that you have to spend up here. So getting a guy like Trey McBride makes so much sense.
And I the way I kind of look at it too is I kind of map out, all the guys that I just think are undervalued based on salary alone, which is like half the tight ends on FanDuel, as you just mentioned. So
yeah,
if Trey McBride is undervalued and super affordable, you can't play it like Juwan Johnson. You just can't do it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, he might go off, and you could do it in a GPP, but
yeah, not that there's anything wrong with Juwan Johnson.
No, but that's part of at least my lineup building strategy in cash games is I got to know my like blind spots as far as, okay, like I'm not just playing the cap. I'm playing other ownerships, like other, roster percentages. And yeah, there's no way I can, like, really, I think the other guy that comes into play is probably a guy like Sam Laporta at 5,900 is another top 4 tight end. But when you could get McBride for just $400 more, it's like you're almost forced to do it unless you just go min price. But like you said, it's only like 1,000 more. So yeah, McBride is like a lock. I totally agree. The same guy we had in DK, Drake London, 7K. That's too cheap.
Oh yeah,
way too cheap.
Yeah, he sticks out like a sore thumb there. I have him like projected around these 8K guys, and he's just sitting there at 7K. So love it.
Yeah, I think we need to lock in. Let's go Brian Thomas Jr. because we don't have Trevor Lawrence in this one.
Oh right.
So yeah, that's the way we'll get that.
Like it. So now we have 7150 and options. So let's see if I go Genty, what happens?
Or Kyron McCaffrey if we went super well on defense.
Let's just do that. So it's we're going McCaffrey. Let's just pick a defense that's 3,700 or lower.
Yeah, the Jaguars, right? Wait,
I think it's Jaguars, Rams, Jets. Probably not. I think it's Jaguars or Rams.
Yeah,
and could go.
Yeah, maybe we could go. I mean, I feel better about the matchup for the Jags against the Panthers.
Yeah. I don't like fading Stroud, but the Rams should rack up sacks this year. I'm absolutely fine going Jags here.
Yeah. I mean, I actually have the Rams like a couple tenths of points ahead, but I'm fine. I'm fine with the Jags. Ike Ekwonu is doubtful. I already talked about the struggles with receivers. So yeah, let's go Jags. Let's get spicy here.
All right.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll keep it like that. But there's obviously a few other ways we could have.
We kind of went through the variations you can definitely consider, and who knows? By Sunday, something will happen where someone's really popping in our models. So. But I think that's kind of the route I would take.
Yeah, and then you could always fall back on Genty because he's a crazy value.
Or Travion, get crazy with that mix and match. You can definitely spend down to get Travion here. I think he has a high enough floor, and then spend up, another receiver. And then get the Broncos. Who knows?
Yeah, I feel like I would personally. I think I would have to go Genty over Travion just because like Travion, you could get like 30% of the carries. Whereas Genty, probably a good lock for like 70%, 75%.
Oh, no doubt. But one's $2,000 more, and we had too much money trying to get Genty. It's weird pricing it. All the positions this week. Next week it'll be a little bit better because they're just going to set prices and they're going to have the current news. But yeah, this week there's just so many, like Ibuka at 5K.
Probably didn't even need him.
Very curious. Yeah. Huh?
We probably didn't even need him at 5K. We probably could have just gone all like mid-tier and been fine. Cause like Genty was like there's like Cortland Sutton 6,700. There's receivers in that 6K range too. Probably that Harrison 60. Well, we got McBride, so we don't need that, but yeah, I think there's definitely some way, or we could, like you said, Devontae Adams is under 7K. Yeah, there's a lot of ways you can go, but I like this squad. So Joe Burrow, Chase Brown, Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey's 8,100, Brown is 6,900, Burrow's 8K. Wide receivers: Emeka Ibuka at 5K, Drake London at 7K, Brian Thomas Jr. 77, and then Trey McBride at 6,300 at tight end. Kyron in the flex at 7,300 and the Jags at 30. What is that? 400.
3,400. Yep.
Yeah, the Jags 3,400. All right, that is going to do it for a DFS cash game lineups for week 1 here on the Fantasy Flex DFS preview episode for week 1. Make sure to subscribe to the pod so you don't miss an episode all season long. We already got our projections pod out, our waivers pod as well. We'll have our touchdown show over on the Action Network podcast, so check that out as well. Sean is on X at the _oddsmaker. I'm at Chris Raybon. We're at those same handles on the free award-winning Action Network app. Enjoy week 1. Let's get this money.